A hush fell across the small rental room, illuminated only by the soft glow of a single lamp on the bedside table. Shadows stretched along the walls in gentle curves. Kadhir sat opposite Nisha, his posture weighed down by exhaustion and awe. For a moment neither spoke. The hum of the night breeze drifted through the half-open window, ruffling the curtains. Finally, Kadhir inhaled deeply, bracing himself for the story he needed to share. Nisha, tonight was unlike anything I faced before. I wasn't just traveling, I was exploring different points in my own life, each part of me trying to guide another. Nisha leaned forward, her hand covering his in a gesture of unconditional support. Her eyes shone with both anxiety and curiosity. Tell me everything, Kadhir. Whatever it is, I'm here, no matter how strange. Encouraged by her calm presence, Kadhir began recounting the fragments of his journey, the tension in his shoulders gradually easing as he spoke. Kadhir found himself once again in the swirling corridor of colors and light. The air around him seemed alive, pulsing with an otherworldly This time, his focus fell immediately on a small rustic box half buried in the ground. Compelled by forces he could not name, he knelt and brushed away the soil. He picked up the letter carefully, its edges frayed, yet the script remained intact. The handwriting was unfamiliar, elegant, but something in his tone felt deeply personal. As his eyes moved over the words, a chill swept through him. The message, it felt like it was meant for him alone. You will encounter your younger self at a moment of fear. His instinct will be to freeze. You must guide him, create the spark that forces him to act. A realization took hold. He was meant to create the panic he had once felt. In essence, he would orchestrate the very scenario that had terrified him years before. The vivid colors of the time realm dissolved into the quiet library from Kadhir's youth. Tall shelves, dim lights, the faint smell of old pages in the air. At a corner table, young Kadhir sat absorbed in a book, unaware of his own future self standing just beyond the next aisle. I remembered how I felt that day, frozen by fear as smoke filled the air, but this time it was me lighting the spark. Glancing around, future Kadhir spotted a nearby electrical outlet. He hesitated, his heart pounding, knowing what he must do. With a trembling breath, he created a tiny electrical spark. Wisps of light smoke began to curl upward, spreading through the library like a ghostly veil. As predicted, young Kadhir's face went pale. Panic flashed across his eyes. He seemed rooted to the spot, unable to move. Future Kadhir approached, voice steady but laced with sympathy. He rested a reassuring hand on his younger counterpart's shoulder. Breathe, calm down, stand up and walk to the exit. You know how to do this. The younger boy blinked in confusion, fear momentarily locking his body. But as future Kadhir guided him, he found the courage to stand, to act rather than freeze. Together, they moved toward the door, leaving behind the hazy swirl of smoke. Kadhir paused in his account, glancing toward Nisha. Her expression was rapt, her fingers tightening around his hand. You became the one who rescued yourself, like closing a loop, healing an old wound. Kadhir nodded, breathing unsteadily. It was surreal, Nisha. I felt like I was watching my own fear unfold and giving myself exactly what I needed. But the story wasn't finished. He steeled himself before continuing. Once young Kadhir was safe, the vortex summoned future Kadhir again. This time, he landed in the backyard of his childhood home, the place he dreaded most. His mother stood by the back door, on the brink of the accident that would claim her life. Helplessness crashed over him as he remembered that fateful day, the catastrophic explosion looming just minutes away. He stepped forward, longing to shout a warning, but time seemed to shackle his voice. His eyes stung with tears. Then he noticed three other silhouettes lining the yard, silent figures also watching. In a sudden wave of comprehension, Kadhir realized each silhouette was a version of himself at different times, witnessing the same tragedy. We were all there, past me, future me, every self that had tried to change what happened, and every self that had failed. The vortex flared, and in a blink it threw him back to the present, the yard dissolving into darkness. As Kader described this final revelation, his voice caught. Nisha leaned closer, tears brightening her eyes. She cupped his cheek, gently guiding him to meet her gaze. You've been guiding yourself through it all, through fear, through heartbreak. It's unimaginable, Kadhir. He exhaled, shoulders sagging under the emotion of it. I see now that every tragedy and hesitation was a step toward finding my own strength. I am each of those shadows. I am the guardian and the one who needs saving. Nisha's eyes glistened with understanding. At that moment, she comprehended the depth of his internal struggle, how he had, in some strange cosmic dance, woven through time to protect and teach himself. She wrapped him in her arms, holding him close. Whatever this means, wherever it leads, we face it together. You've carried it alone long enough. Hours passed in uneasy reverie. A subtle bloom of dawn reached through the cracks in the curtains, banishing the shadows. Exhausted yet settled by each other's presence, they lay side by side, Nisha's fingers entwined with his, a steady reminder that they were tethered to reality together. We'll face this, Kadhir, whatever it means, wherever it leads, together. He squeezed her hand, inhaling a slow, measured breath. The fear still lingered behind his eyes, but a hint of relief flickered there too. For all the swirling chaos, there was a certain comfort in knowing he wasn't facing it alone. I'm so grateful. I never wanted you to see that, but I needed you to know. Nisha pressed a gentle kiss to his forehead, heart swelling with protective warmth. We can't pretend it's not real, but we can stand strong side by side. That's what matters now. In the dawning light, their shared resolve stood firm, a silent promise that no vortex, no tear in the fabric of time could truly separate them as long as love and faith bound them so tightly. A single floor lamp cast a circle of soft light across the living room, illuminating weary faces and scattered research materials. Kadhir, Nisha, and Arjun were gathered around a low table, piles of crinkled notes and half-shut laptops testifying to many long nights. Yet tonight, the frantic pace had eased into something calmer, though no less determined. Nisha sat upright, her posture resolute, but her eyes reflecting a deep concern. She glanced at Kadhir, who had been staring into space, brow furrowed, as if wrestling with the weight of countless unanswered questions. Kadhir, this can't keep going. You've poured so much into these mysteries, these wormholes, the time travel, but I see what it's costing you. Her voice trembled just enough to betray her own emotional strain. Kadhir looked up, surprised by the urgency in her tone. I feel like we're so close, Nisha. Every clue points to something bigger. But you're right. It weighs on me more than ever. He closed his eyes for a moment, exhaustion evident in the set of his shoulders. Across from them, Arjun observed silently, his usual quick insights replaced by a gentler approach born of empathy. Nisha's not asking you to stop, Kadhir, just to recognize that you don't have to carry all this alone. Nisha exhaled, shoulders relaxing a fraction. She reached out, placing a comforting hand over Kadhir's. There's one thing we've hardly explored, that letter, the one you found during your time travels and left behind. We never pressed you to pursue it. Maybe we should have. Kadhir tensed slightly, recalling the worn piece of paper he'd unearthed in some half-remembered moment. In his mind, it was a clue meant only for that time, that place. I always assumed it wasn't meant to stay with me. It felt sacred somehow. like I had to leave it where I found it. Nisha leaned forward, resolve sparking in her gaze. But it was left for you, by someone, or something, that knows more than we do. If we track its origin, we might uncover who wrote it and why. Across the table, Arjun nodded. We've chased cosmic particles, wormhole physics, and relics of the past. This letter is personal, maybe even the most direct clue we have. You're not alone, Kadhir. We can follow this trail together. Kadhir pressed his lips together, absorbing their words. For so long, he had dismissed the letter as a relic of a single time jump. But as he looked into Nisha's worried yet resolute face, he sensed that investigating its authorship might be more crucial than he'd ever realized. You think it could lead us to real answers? Nisha gave his hand a reassuring squeeze. I think it could lead you to peace, and that's what matters most right now. A thoughtful hush enveloped the room. The tension pressing on them eased into a sense of a renewed purpose. Kadhir ran a hand through his hair, glancing between Nisha and Arjun. Alright, we'll do it. We'll revisit everything about that letter, when, where, and how I found it. Arjun allowed himself a small smile. I'll admit, diving into something more personal might be a welcome change from chasing subatomic theories and cosmic conspiracies. Nisha stood, moving around the table to stand beside Kadhir. She placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. We'll figure it out, step by step, I promise. The trio worked well past midnight, sorting through Kadhir's recollections of the letter and checking old notes where he first mentioned it. A single lamp cast a soft, golden glow across Nisha's face as she hunched over her computer, scrolling through old Orkut posts. The hum of the house's silence made every keystroke sound louder than usual. Her gaze flickered across endless pages of Arjun's old contacts, dozens of names, countless trivial posts. Then she stopped on a post by Arokyaraj. It caught her eye with an inexplicable pull, a faint promise of something significant. Arokyaraj, and something about his father's book. This feels important. She clicked the link, leaning closer to read. The post described a mysterious book owned by Alan's father, David Arokyaraj, that told a creation story tinged with exotic scientific concepts. A surge of adrenaline coursed through her veins. This might be the lead they desperately needed. Leaning back, Nisha whispered urgently, Yes, this could connect to everything we've been investigating. Her voice cracked at the hush, prompting Kadhir and Arjun to gather around her, curiosity flaring in their eyes. Alan mentioned his father's book. It talks about a bizarre creation story, heavy on theoretical science, apparently unlike any normal text. Kadhir's face brightened, some of the tension in his shoulders easing. This is huge. If we can link these theories to the anomalies we've been facing, it might finally make sense of everything. Arjun, brows knitted, remained cautiously intrigued. We followed plenty of trails that led nowhere, but this has promise. Determined not to lose momentum, Nisha opened a chat window. The clock's ticking became the only sound in the quiet house. They waited, breath bated, hoping for a swift reply. Alan responded sooner than expected. A brief chat confirmed his interest in discussing his father's book, and soon enough they had arranged a phone call. A phone call connected, and the gentle voice of Alan Arokyaraj came on speaker. Hello, this is Alan. Nisha, leaning toward the phone, spoke clearly but with a palpable anticipation. Hi Alan, this is Nisha. Thank you for responding so quickly. We saw your post about your father's book. We think it could help us with some very unusual phenomena. Alan's tone shifted, friendly yet laced with intrigue. Yes, my father, David Arokyaraj, had a rare text he believed might change how we view the world. It's quite an enigma, steeped in unorthodox science and mythology. Kadhir and Arjun exchanged eager glances, nodding for Nisha to press on. We've encountered anomalies, time distortions, vortices, that sort of thing. and we suspect your father's book might hold answers. Could you share what you know? A hushed pause followed. I'm not sure how directly it connects, but I can tell you what I remember. It discusses a creation story blending theoretical physics and ancient cosmology, like a bridge between science and legend. Nisha, Kadhir, and Arjun hung on every syllable in the dimly lit room. Could this truly be the missing piece? We just might be on the right track, Kadhir murmured to himself. A soft glow from the screen illuminated the dimly lit living room as Nisha, Kadhir, and Arjun sat close together, their faces etched with focus. On the other side of the video call appeared Alan Arokyaraj, his welcoming smile reflecting curiosity, and next to him, his father, David Arokyaraj, a scholarly looking man with an air of wisdom and quiet intrigue. Thank you both for meeting with us, Nisha said, polite but eager. We're friends of Arjun, and we were fascinated by the post mentioning your book. We believe it might be linked to some unusual experiences Kadhir has had. David adjusted his glasses, leaning forward with interest. Ah, yes, the book. It's a remarkable piece, though its origins remain a mystery. It's not just a narrative, it's an investigation into a tragedy and an anomaly. The book tells the tale of a groundbreaking scientific project sabotaged by jealousy and rivalry, David explained, his voice measured. The lead scientist, one of the most respected minds of his time, lost his career, and the intern, someone whose potential was equally bright, vanished without a trace. His words carried a weight that settled over the group. There was something eerily familiar about this story, as though it resonated with something just beneath the surface of their own investigation. The writer of the book couldn't let the mystery rest, David continued. Driven by a sense of justice, he pieced together scraps of information, records, personal accounts, even rumors to identify the intern and understand what might have happened. He theorized that the intern's disappearance might be linked to an unexplainable anomaly the team was investigating. Kadhir, Nisha, and Arjun exchanged glances, the unspoken tension between them growing heavier. The parallels to Kadhir's own journey were too precise to ignore. But what's even more intriguing, David added, is how the book itself came into existence. The way Arjun described Kadhir's wormhole experience reminded me of a thought I've had for years. What if the book came from another timeline? Nisha's breath caught, her mind racing to process the implications. Another timeline, she echoed. You think the book traveled through a wormhole? David nodded, his gaze intense. Exactly. The book's origins were just as elusive as the intern it described. When I tried to trace it back, it led to a dead end. The supposed author denied writing it, and yet the handwriting analysis proved otherwise. Adding to the mystery, the author was preoccupied with a groundbreaking project when the book was supposedly written. The timelines simply don't match. Arjun leaned forward, his voice steady despite the weight of the discussion. And you think this wormhole experience Kadhir had might explain how the book ended up in our world? David's eyes gleamed with curiosity. It's a hypothesis, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. The writer's meticulous research, combined with the clues left behind, points to the intern being on the cusp of a discovery involving the anomaly. What if that anomaly was a wormhole? And what if the book and possibly the intern somehow crossed timelines? A heavy silence fell over the group as they processed the implications. If this book and the intern are connected to the same phenomenon I experienced, Kadhir murmured, almost to himself, it might explain why I felt displaced. Nisha placed a hand on his arm, her touch grounding him. This book might hold the answers we need. If it's truly from another timeline, it could reveal what happened to the intern and the nature of the anomaly and why it connects to you. David smiled warmly, nodding. Of course, Alan can arrange to meet you and hand over a copy. Perhaps you'll see something in those pages that we've all missed. If your wormhole experience is tied to this mystery, then you might be able to uncover the truth. As the video call ended, the group sat back, a shared sense of purpose and excitement filling the room. The book wasn't just a link to Kadhir's experiences, it was a window into a mystery that spanned timelines and could hold the key to understanding the anomaly. The living room was steeped in silence, punctuated only by the soft rustling of pages as Nisha and Kadhir delved into the mysterious book provided by David. The dim light from the lamp cast a soft glow over the old pages, illuminating the cryptic text that held potentially life altering revelations. The book detailed the exploits of a brilliant intern central to a groundbreaking project on an unexplained anomaly, yet frustratingly, it withheld crucial details about the anomaly's nature and the project's ultimate fate. Nisha, her brow furrowed in concentration, attempted to draw connections between the enigmatic book and the equally mysterious letter Kadhir had encountered during his time travel adventures. Her voice was low but filled with a growing sense of urgency. The disappearance of the intern is baffling, especially given his intellect. He might be traveling through time, moving from the past to the future, which could explain some of the anomalies we've encountered. Kadhir listened intently, his mind racing as he absorbed Nisha's words. A thought struck him, a possibility that seemed both outrageous and entirely plausible. If this intern is behind all this, it means he is the author of the letters and he is manipulating our lives. But why Nisha? What would he gain by controlling our choices? Or he paused, his voice tinged with the note of dread. By taking my mother away. Nisha's face softened, sensing the depth of Kadhir's pain. She reached out, placing a comforting hand on his shoulder, grounding him. Kadhir, I understand the pain this stirs in you, but let's hold on to our clarity. Anger can be blinding, and we need clear minds if we're going to reach the truth. Kadhir took a deep breath, nodding as he let her words steady him. You're right, it's just if this intern is somehow responsible for my mother's death, then he's taken more than I can forgive. But I won't let anger steer us, of course. We need to know what this intern is after. Nisha gave his shoulder a gentle squeeze, her resolve reassuringly beside him. We'll start by focusing on what we can prove. We need to identify this intern, understand his motives, and uncover any patterns linking his actions to your experiences. Finding out who or what wrote those letters could give us the answers we've been chasing. Kadhir's gaze dropped to the worn pages of the book, his mind racing with questions. The image of his mother's face appeared in his thoughts, a reminder of the stakes they faced. I want to know everything: who this intern is, why he's pulling strings across timelines, and if he really had a hand in my mother's death. Nisha leaned in, her eyes locking onto his with unwavering determination. Then let's get to the truth, Kadhir. This book may hold fragments, but we'll piece it all together. We have each other, and that's our strength. The weight of her words lingered, a grounding force amid the turbulent emotions swirling within Kadhir. He met her gaze, gratitude and resolve reflecting in his eyes. Thank you, Nisha, for being here, for all of this. Together, we'll find justice for my mother. Nisha offered a small reassuring smile. We will, and we'll be prepared for whatever comes next. As they sat side by side, united in their resolve, the path forward began to take shape. There would be obstacles, mysteries yet unsolved, but with each other's support, they would uncover the truth hidden in the shadows of time. Their journey into the night was just beginning, but with their unbreakable bond, they felt ready to confront the hidden truths waiting within the folds of the past, present, and future. The function hall in Chennai was a tapestry of color and life, its vibrant decorations swaying gently under the arm of happy chatter and laughter. An evening of joyous celebration was underway, and every corner of the room sparkled with the energy of a family gathering. Kadhir, Nisha, and their children were immersed in the festivities, surrounded by friends and family whose faces glowed with camaraderie. The air resonated with the sound of clinking glasses and the joyful shrieks of children. The aroma of spicy delicacies mixed with floral garlands filled the space, enhancing the sensory experience. Kadhir's father, a robust man with a hearty laugh, mingled among the guests, sharing anecdotes from his youth with friends old and new. Nearby, Kadhir's children played gleefully with their cousins, their laughter infectious and pure, a testament to the innocent joy of youth. Nisha stood elegantly beside Kadhir, her sari glistening under the all lights, her face radiant. Her eyes wandered lovingly to the children every so often, her heart swelling with joy at the sight of their happiness. Cameras flashed, capturing these moments, freezing them in time as cherished memories. As the evening progressed, the atmosphere thickened with a celebratory spirit. The hall's vibrant energy seemed to pulse in time with the music. Kadhir's father eventually took to the stage, his presence commanding yet warm. He delivered a heartfelt speech, his words weaving through the crowd, weaving together gratitude and joy threads. The hall erupted in applause and cheers as he concluded, the echo of his voice lingering like a warm embrace. The dance floor then became the heart of the hall. Kadhir, Nisha, and the kids joined others in a rhythmic sway to the lively music. Their movements were fluid, their laughter a melody that resonated around the room, their joy captured in candid shots that spoke of love and family bonds. As the night deepened, Kadhir's family returned to their hotel room, the echoes of the function still vibrant in their minds. Exhausted from the adventures, the children quickly succumbed to sleep, their dreams no doubt filled with the day's delights. The room's dim lighting provided a somber contrast to the day's brightness, casting gentle shadows that seemed to whisper the end of a joyful day. Kadhir, however, found himself lying awake, the joy of the evening overshadowed by a creeping headache. He massaged his forehead, each stroke an attempt to soothe the throbbing pain. Breathing deeply, he focused on the center of his forehead, seeking relief from the discomfort. As the headache subsided, his mind drifted, pulling him into an unexpected vision. Suddenly, Kadhir found himself and his family traveling on the Chennai Bangalore highway. To his astonishment, his deceased mother, appearing as she had in her later years, was there with them, laughing and chatting. The scene was vivid, filled with life, yet tinged with an ethereal quality that confused reality with imagination. A truck loomed suddenly, its approach rapid and menacing. Nisha's voice broke through the tranquility, a sharp warning that came too late. Kadhir, paralyzed by his surge of fear, could only watch as the inevitable collision unfolded. The vision shifted abruptly to a hospital where an ambulance siren pierced the air. Kadhir, now on a hospital bed, was rushed through the corridors. The surreal feeling intensified as he struggled against a viscous force that seemed to bind him. With an Herculean effort, he freed himself, only to realize with horror that he was floating above his body, witnessing the chaotic efforts to save his life. Ghostly figures moved around him, their faces grim, their whispers foretelling a fate he was not ready to accept. Amidst the spectral chaos, another soul appeared, its presence as bewildering as the situation. The groans of the unknown spirit mingled with the clinical sounds of the hospital, creating a cacophony that overwhelmed Kadhir. Just as despair threatened to consume him, Kadhir snapped back to reality. He awoke with a start, his body slick with cold sweat, his breaths heavy and uneven. The familiar surroundings of the hotel room brought a small comfort, but the remnants of the vision clung to him, a chilling reminder of something beyond comprehension. What was that? Was it a dream or something else? Kadhir whispered to himself in confusion. Shaken, He resolved to discuss the vision with Anisha in the morning. So her insight and support were his anchors, and he knew that together they could begin to unravel the mystery of his disturbing journey. As the night reclaimed its quiet, Kadhir lay pondering. The lines between reality and visions blurred. The journey through his mind's eye was more than a mere dream. It was a cryptic message, perhaps a glimpse into the threads of time that bound him to unseen realms.